Friends, what do you think could be funnier than trying to park in a tight alley after the New Year's celebrations? Today, we have a real battle of silly accidents. Russia versus the U.S. I've gathered the most ridiculous road fails, where it seems like true masters of adventure are behind the wheel. In this video, you will see how incredible car curiosities unite two great powers, and what surprises they have prepared. At the end, I'll wrap things up and share my conclusions. Ready to dive into a world of crazy maneuvers and absurd collisions. Let's go! Too fast delivery to the auto shop. This incident happened in 2014 in the city of Colleyville, Texas. The driver of a GMC Yukon crashed into a sedan. The SUV flipped and crashed into an auto shop called Lone Star Collision. After the collision, the SUV overturned and continued moving along the road until it crashed through the wall of a nearby auto repair shop. It's funny that the service was called Lone Star Collision. As a result of the accident, two passengers in the sedan suffered minor injuries and were taken to the hospital. As for the driver of the SUV, he fortunately came out unscathed and was immediately taken to the police. Jennifer LaPierre, the owner of Lone Star Collision, was shocked by what happened, but she was able to appreciate the irony of the situation. A similar incident happened a few years earlier. In August 2010, the skies in Southern California were overcast and people were going about their business. A hot rod crashes into the window of the hot rod shop. The incident details weren't disclosed, but it seems the driver lost control of the modified Ford in the parking lot near the service center. Fortunately, the crash target was a specialized shop, so repairs were nearby. The open sign at the entrance looked symbolic. Fortunately, the target for the work was a specialized workshop, so it didn't take long to find a place to repair the car. And the open sign at the entrance looked pretty symbolic. A life hack on how to see a doctor without an appointment. The chances of a Nissan Altima ending up on the second floor of a dental clinic seemed negligible. However, such an incredible event actually happened in Orange County, California. According to surveillance footage, the car collided with a barrier, which acted as a kind of springboard, throwing the car into the air. At that speed, the Altima soared up to the second floor of the clinic, barely missing a passing bus. This unusual accident happened on the evening of January 14, 2018. Fortunately, neither the driver nor the passenger of the car were hurt. Photos from the scene quickly spread across the internet and became the basis for numerous memes. When your parents left but left the castle. Ron Weasley, how dare you steal a car? There were plenty of jokes about that. When a guest is at the door, drama occurred in San Rafael. At 2:45 a.m., a resident awoke to a crash. A Mustang crashed into his house at full speed. At 2:45 a.m., a local resident was jolted awake by a loud crash. A fourth-generation Mustang crashed into his house at full speed. The driver was a heavily intoxicated man who lost control while driving on a donut tire, but the surreal scene didn't end there. As he tried to get out of the wrecked car, the driver only made things worse. But the surreal scene didn't end there. As the driver tried to get out of the wrecked car, he only made things worse. The Mustang crashed through the hallway and living room, causing even more damage to the house. The owner of the house, seeing the destruction of his own house, reacted quickly. He pulled the offender, took the keys, and called the police. The criminal wasn't ready to surrender. He snatched the keys and attempted to escape, but his mind betrayed him, and instead of fleeing, he crashed the Toyota into the building, ending up next to the Mustang. Nevertheless, his alcohol-clouded mind played a cruel trick on him. Instead of fleeing far from the building, the Toyota crossover crashed into it at full speed, ending up side by side with the Mustang. In just a few minutes, the house endured 3 powerful impacts. Fortunately, by the time the last incident happened, the police had already arrived on the scene. The offender was charged with a number of offenses when he decided to have breakfast at his workplace. And now, let's head back to Russia and see how things are over there. In 2014, there was a pretty funny accident in Kemerovo. As they say, war is war, but lunch is on schedule. This is exactly how one can describe the situation when a trolleybus crashed right into a Café food unit. Actually, it wasn't about lunch at all. The accident happened early in the morning, at 7:30 a.m. The trolleybus driver tried to make it to the green light and was driving too fast. But the old vehicle couldn't handle the strain and decided to take a little break. Fortunately, no one was hurt. Neither the cafe visitors, nor the driver, nor the 6 passengers, nor the pedestrians on the sidewalk were hurt. Only the building and the equipment were damaged. The rich cry too. Another incident where there are no guilty parties, but there is a victim. A McLaren 650S Supercar, owned by baseball player Trevor Bauer. The car was waiting for its owner at a dealership in Houston, Texas. Unfortunately, it was parked close to the panoramic window. At this time, a wheel came off a truck passing nearby and flew across 6 lanes of the road. The wheel ricocheted off the wall of the dealership and landed right on the hood of the brand new McLaren. The photographs clearly show the consequences: a dent in the wall, shards of glass, and the wheel itself from the truck. Fortunately, the supercar was insured, but there's definitely a lingering feeling about it. What was he thinking? What was he hoping for? And who's to blame? On August 30th, 2024, an accident occurred in the Kirovsky district of Volgograd, at the intersection of 64th Army Street and Kafkazskaya. All the cars stopped at the red light, letting pedestrians and left-turning vehicles go by. However, one driver, seemingly lost in thought, kept moving in the middle lane until they crashed into the car in front of them. The impact pushed that car forward, hitting at least 2 other law-abiding vehicles. However, one of the drivers, seemingly lost in thought, kept moving in the middle lane until they crashed into the car in front of them. The impact pushed that car forward, hitting at least 2 other law-abiding vehicles. It is possible that more vehicles were damaged, but it is difficult to determine from the video. On the same day, another accident occurred in the Savitsky district at the intersection of Universitetsky Avenue and Priamaya Street. The driver, while making a left turn, didn't check for cars in the left lane. There was a strong impact, and the car flipped, ending up on its roof. Bystanders rushed to help the driver and assisted him in getting out of the car. The traffic light wasn't caught on camera, but the driver likely had a red light. Danger was evident before the intersection. Even though the traffic light wasn't caught on camera, it seems that the driver heading down the avenue had a red light. Even before approaching the intersection, it was clear that there was danger ahead. The driver coming from the side street, due to the truck, clearly didn't expect to encounter a car flying toward them. Even before approaching the intersection, it was clear that there was danger ahead. The driver, who was exiting from the adjacent street because of the truck, obviously did not expect to encounter an oncoming car on his way. Fate had it that they both ended up in the same place at the same time. Commentators argued for a long time about who was to blame for this accident, but they were unable to reach a consensus. You can't argue with a tank. Some things are just impossible to overlook. For example, a column of tanks moving down the road. These vehicles are not only massive but also create a loud noise that can be heard for hundreds of feet. However, that didn't stop one German woman who managed to drive her Toyota Yaris right under the tracks of a British Challenger 2 tank. The incident occurred in June 2015 near the German town of Augustusdorf, when tanks were moving to a training ground. The woman, whose car was completely destroyed, couldn't explain to the police how she managed to not notice the column of armored vehicles, one of which turned her car into a pile of metal. The insurance company estimated the damage at €12,000, while the tank suffered no damage at all. Fortunately, there were no serious injuries, although the outcome could have been much worse. Unsuccessful parking at the airfield. When planes are coming in for a landing, they sometimes have to deal with unexpected surprises. One of those surprises can be cars. Incidents with aircraft and ground vehicles are becoming routine, but unusual cases occur. At Hong Kong Airport, an Airbus A330 was preparing for takeoff when a Suzuki Every minibus crashed into it. The question of how someone could miss a 197-foot airplane remains unanswered. Suddenly, a Suzuki Every minibus crashed into it at full speed. The question of how a 197-foot long plane could have gone unnoticed remains open. The collision resulted in severe damage to the Rolls-Royce turbofan engine, making it impossible to continue the flight. The minibus also sustained significant damage, and it's likely that its career ended there. The driver, who suffered multiple bruises, was taken to the hospital, where he was strongly advised to see an eye doctor. Another incident occurred in Uzbekistan. The legendary Soviet biplane An-2, belonging to the civil aviation of Uzbekistan, collided on the ground with an equally famous representative of the Soviet automobile industry, the Moskvich 412 sedan. Both of these vehicles made a significant contribution to the history of the Soviet Union. The An-2 entered the Guinness Book of Records as the only aircraft in the world whose production lasted more than 70 years. The Moskvich also successfully participated in international auto races, including the London-Mexico Rally in 1912, where it took third place. Thus, these two Soviet rarities in their mature years became participants in a mysterious accident. It is difficult to determine the exact culprit of the accident, but the Muscovite received serious injuries and after the incident had to be sent to the dump. The plane was practically undamaged, confirming its reliability and durability. Fortunately, the An-2's engine wasn't running at that moment. Otherwise, the Moskvich would have faced the most unusual disposal imaginable. Ambulance. Formula One drivers often encounter unexpected situations on the track. A striking example is the Japanese driver from the footwork team, Hart and Inoue, who got caught up in an unusual incident at the Hungarian Grand Prix in 1995. When his car's engine caught fire, Inoue parked on the side of the road and, against the rules, decided to put out the fire himself. After grabbing the fire extinguisher from the marshal's hands, he ran back to his car and ended up on the hood of the Tatra 613 medical vehicle. The Tatra driver didn't expect the Japanese guy to try to save his car like that and couldn't stop in time. The episode caused laughter in the pits of all teams. Inoue's incident was the first and only time a driver was hit by a medical car. He never scored in F1. Inoue wasn't hurt. He never scored in F1. Volgograd headlines. The truth is, he didn't achieve significant success and never scored a single point throughout his entire Formula One career. And once again, it's Volgograd in Russia making headlines. In the Central District, at the intersection of Lenin Avenue and Krasnoznamenskia Street, an accident occurred on August 28, 2024. Here, a driver who was either lost in thought or in a big hurry also got involved. There was a small traffic jam at the intersection, but the driver behind the wheel either didn't notice it or didn't want to wait and decided to give a little nudge to the cars in front. The red-haired girl had to deal with the owner of the damaged car. It's believed that she was the one driving the red car. In the same central area, at the intersection of Nevska and Parkamenko streets, a traffic accident occurred several days earlier. And once again, while making a left turn, the driver didn't check to see if there was another vehicle behind the oncoming car that was yielding to the straight-moving traffic. The motorcyclist, unexpectedly seeing a car turning right in front of him, fell onto the asphalt in shock. His bike flew under the right front wheel of the foreign car. How could they miscalculate like that? In the Russian city of Provurovsk, on October 3, 2024, a minor traffic accident occurred. One of the drivers, while backing up, damaged the front of another vehicle involved in the incident. This mishap brought quite a few smiles to the witnesses. One of the drivers, while backing up, damaged the front of another vehicle involved in the incident. This incident brought quite a few smiles to the witnesses. The thing is, the accident happened almost for no apparent reason. The driver stopped at the intersection, waiting for the green light. But then he suddenly decided to back up. At that moment, another car was behind him. This will definitely make the top 3 most ridiculous accidents of the year, noted one local resident. It's better not to cross the stop line under any circumstances, added another. Stinginess is doubly punished, a third noted, referring to the fine for violating the rules for stopping before the stop line. I think it's better to pay the fine than to deal with repairs. What's your opinion on this case? Original delivery of the press to the recipient. The Republican newspaper is considered one of the oldest publications in the U.S. Despite the decline in interest in print media, the newspaper publishes about 70,000 copies every month. Some readers still get their copies delivered right to their homes. Sometimes deliveries take an unexpected turn. So, in July 2017, in Richmond, Virginia, a delivery driver lost control of their vehicle and crashed into a two-story house. Fortunately, no one was hurt. The irony of the situation lies in the newspaper's slogan, which was displayed on the van, where the news hits home. The word hits in English can mean not only to come but also to strike. Traffic accidents happen for various reasons. Among them are factors like driver inattention or disregard for the rules, technical malfunctions of vehicles, tricky weather conditions, and unpredictable coincidences. Overall, drivers from different countries are quite similar, making the same kinds of mistakes. And now, friends, I want to make you an interesting offer. You have a unique opportunity to become part of our team. If you have video editing skills, can voice over videos in Russian, English, and other languages, or write interesting scripts, we would be happy to work with you. Message our Telegram bot, the link is in the description. And that's all for today. Thank you for watching.